Hi everyone, very good to be here. My name is Ben Berenson. I'm the commercial manager for CryptAM Services Limited. I'm here to introduce to you our company and the remarkable growth that we have done this far and why this is a great opportunity for you. I think that this is quite self-explanatory. However, you can see that we market the global era for. We basically think that we think that this is the golden era for digital asset managers. So, as I said, why we're here? We believe that this is the golden era for professional digital asset management. It's common knowledge that traditional asset managers oversee a significant chunk of AUM across fixed income, property, and equity. You know some of them, BlackRock, PIMCO, Vanguard, and others. We believe that this is the digital asset market. We believe that the digital asset market will follow the same trend as it matures. Early movers will be well positioned to influence and shape the development of this market rapid growth. Also, as an extension of the current situation where interested investors require specialist managers to help them extract the best value within a specific alternative asset class. Similarly, digital asset managers will be aiming to deliver the best-in-class end-to-end service. Now, it goes without saying that managing market risk is important. However, we believe that operational risk is just as important. Don't forget that this market runs on DLT consensus technology, blockchain, which means that digital asset managers must build this infrastructure themselves. This can be a barrier for entry for parties who have no experience in a T+0 DLT-driven market. Now, as you can see, this is some of the major barriers navigating into a new young market. Now, our time is focused on managing these major hurdles for our clients. We can look through the noise and shifts in the global regulatory environment and understand the critical points that impact our clients and business. We have the knowledge to maintain a clear direction of where we need to head to ensure compliance. Now, notice that many regulators, including the SFC, regard Bitcoin and Ethereum as digital commodity, and hence virtual asset managers are not required to be regulated. However, with that, digital securities are being issued, hence we follow regulations closely, as this presents a massive opportunity for institutions in the near future. Another important point is liquidity. It's a topic we address daily, obviously, for best execution. There are over 10,000 markets to trade upon, with estimated liquidity ranging between 300 million and 6 billion USD. One has to select the counterparties very carefully in this type of market. Focusing on liquidity and best execution, we're able to aggregate liquidity, trading across vetted exchanges, and have relationships to the most well-established global OTC desks. Another important point is that new market equals new standards, and this especially focusing on operations. If you think about it, a T+0 market, there's no one to roll back the tape for settlement. Settlement in the market is pretty much instantaneous. So considering counterparty risk, if you mention the word custody, people typically get excited. And this is a very important topic for the industry further development. Our clients can benefit from our extensive knowledge of having met numerous providers. We take into consideration, obviously, cybersecurity, as well as KYC AML. Mentioning on the last point, the KYC AML is led by the digital asset economy. So new industry standards are being developed daily, and this is something that is usually on the headlines. Another very important point that we can talk about for quite a long time is the idea of volatility, or this volatile market risk. Essentially, it requires acting swiftly and have a strong handle on risk management, as this is a 365 trading day market. We can go on discussing volatility for equity, for fixed income, for FX markets, when those would range anywhere between 4 and 30%, depends on the segmentation of the market and so on. But bearing that in mind, public chain digital assets have volatility of approximately 80%. It's a big number, and the standard deviation analyzation factor for this market is 365 and not 255, which most traditional players know. So this already already increases the annualized volume by 25% by itself. A last point is the asymmetric return value, the asymmetric return profile, sorry. Due to an efficient market, there are multiple opportunities to exploit market timing and arbitraging. There are increasing methods, including swaps, futures, and options, to be able to hedge market risk, allowing investors to conduct appropriate market risk management. That was a mouthful. Now we'll get to a little bit more of the fun part, a little bit about this team that made all of that possible. This is the main team. We have other people that we work with. Now, just to present very quickly the team. Our team is as multicultural and comprehensive as it gets. Ranging between 30 and mid-60s of age and from different places in the world, we bring an unparalleled wealth of global experience, working in family offices across different regions of the world. We worked for multinational companies like Fidelity International, PIMCO, Swift, BASF, Accenture, JP Morgan, NASDAQ, and others. We are built agile, sophisticated, and tailored to succeed. A little bit about our core corporate statement. Our vision is all about risk-managed solutions. With that in mind, in our vision, we will enhance digital wealth into the future when our mission complements that very well, providing everything in a trusted, consistent, and convenient world-class gateway for investors. This timeline shows our growing success story. Since our team came together mid-2017, we were fortunate to be incubated in Cyberport, which supported us throughout the way until now, and we're very happy and proud in this relationship. We continued with launching our passive and active strategies, then our Cayman Fund. Right after we were accepted to the Bettertron Accelerator, we developed hedging capabilities, which was a very difficult task given market maturity. And with our own in-house development and market progression, and in the same time when we agreed on our Series A funding, we got to satisfying execution that allowed us to develop further our service offerings. Now, this slide is basically who we are and how we do things. CryptAM applies an holistic approach to navigate this young market. We have well-established partnerships with both governmental and regulated entities and world-class solution providers. We have those four pillars, which are the breakdown of our core services. On the right-hand side, you can see Cayman Capital. Cayman Capital is a full operating crypto hedge fund focusing on the top 25 cryptocurrencies by market cap. Sits in the Grand Cayman Islands. On the left side, you see CryptAM Services, which is our company, the one that I represent here in front of you. We have those four pillars that basically divide and rely on each other. So our sister company in the Grand Cayman provides asset management to eligible professional investors, digital asset management and trading driven by sophisticated quantitative methods to deliver risk-adjusted value. We provide easy access for clients who don't know where to start and in-depth insights for ones who are already involved. Now, on the right-hand side, for CryptAM Services, you see the consulting and the thought leadership. Those together basically comprise of education. What we do is, given the required sophistication and knowledge in this market, we can help guide clients on how to think about digital assets. We have established ourselves as a thought leader and are actively partnering with professional services all around the world. Focus on the 1%, okay? Look at this slide very carefully because this is a lot of what we can do for private and institutional investors. If you look, we took in our own in-house software, we took a traditional portfolio 60-40, 60% focusing on equity, in this case the MSCI All Country World Index, 40% bonds, which here is the Barclays GLB AG Corp TR unhedged USD. We added to that 5% of hard commodities, the S&P Total Return SME. Now you can see that the first one is a benchmark. The second one is, with the commodities, has underperformed, and this is driven by the underperformance of the market, okay? When we took 1% of the hard commodities and reallocated it to digital assets, you can find very simply that in an empiric way, it significantly improved both annual return and return risk ratio, and not materially increased the drawdown risk. And on the top of that, it overall increased the portfolio efficiency. Now, as I'm literally out of time, I'll run through the rest, but bear with me really quickly. We have a little bit about the investment capabilities of the fund, very straightforward. We use AI and quantitative research. We complement that with fundamental research. All of that should support very well the trading and best execution. This is what makes our Cayman hedge fund a success story. This is our performance. You can see the signals on the left-hand side. If you will follow the blue line and look at our execution, you will see that today we're well past 52% on absolute terms, positive, which not a lot of players can say nowadays in this market. And we still keep on upgrading our capabilities, so there are a lot of things coming up this year for us. Lastly, last note about where we are now. This is basically our model for additional services relying on our data and the intelligence we make of it. More than that, we facilitated our capabilities to bring services to audience in different levels. We provide mandated funds for institutional players, in-house education for financial institutions and others, touching on personalized agenda, servicing professional investors and how digital assets can benefit them, as you've seen before, synthetically, and much more. With that being said, thank you very much. Passion led us here. We will take questions now. Thank you for Marvin. And I have colleagues here in case you want to ask more questions later on.
All right, thank you. So is there any question for CryptAM? Yep.
Hey, Ben, thanks for your time and giving us the presentation. But I'm quite lost, to be frank. What is your product? It is front, middle, or back office trading system, or is it a tool, or what is the format of your product?
That's a good question, and one of the reasons that there are reasons why the presentation is built the way it's built. We're basically CryptAM Holdings comprised of two companies. We have a full operating hedge fund, our sister company in the Grand Caymans, which focuses on top 25 cryptocurrencies by market cap, has hedging capabilities and so on. It's a clear case of a hedge fund, just not here.
So it is a hedge fund trading cryptocurrencies, right?
Yes, the one in the Grand Caymans.
Okay.
What we have here, our company is called CryptAM Services. It's a company that focuses on all the intel, the data, what we make of it from the hedge fund, relying on the hedge fund capabilities. So basically, we can sit down with someone that heard someone here in the audience that will hear a little bit about from the presentation, say, look, I heard a lot about that. I have a certain portfolio. What can I do, right? So we don't do any advisory. We educate, right? So we'll sit down. We have in-house developed software and other tools that allow us to take the portfolio, plot it in, see the analysis of risk contribution, other factors of the portfolio, and show the person or the institution in terms of, in a synthetic way, if we would add one crypto, two cryptocurrencies, a basket, anything above that, we can show exactly what would be the contribution, an exact analysis, and the risk goes on. Now, we can do that for anyone that has a portfolio, right? So this is a product that we have here that we developed. In addition, if you think about it, anything that complements the hedge fund side that we can do here. So we do in-house workshops to educate internal staff. We do that currently with law firms, consulting firms. We do projects with big banks and their staffs, depends on the institution, and the list goes on. So we provide here a product which is under consulting and education, and this is relying on our crypto hedge fund, which is an affiliated company sitting in the Grand Caymans.
Okay, so Ben, can I summarize maybe from what I heard? Yes. There should be two business lines, right? Maybe you have a tool which can assist the fund manager to do analytics and provide consulting services to your potential clients. That's business line number one. Number two, I guess you should have your own product, which is a standardized portfolio with the mixture of a little bit digital currencies. Is that what you are selling?
Everything is digital currency.
Everything is digital currency. Okay.
So I'll give you another
So you
one.
also sell digital currency portfolio to your potential clients, right?
We can do that. If there's a need and they come and they ask us what would be the right way, we can tell them.
Okay, so basically two business lines, right?
More than that.
More than that?
If you think about it, it's really services that answer to anyone that want to be involved with this market in a very easy, risk-managed way. But very, very simple. You'll see that any way that you'll manipulate the question, we do something to do with that. I'll give you another example just to kind of touch on that. For bigger clients, institutionals or family offices, right? We can mandate a fund. So basically, we can look at what they're doing now. We can design a portfolio that has the right risk contribution, for example, or to an extent targeted returns, relying on a level of risk, and we can tailor-make it for them, right?
Okay. Basically, you're a consulting company, provided whatever the client's needs.
Around cryptocurrency in Hong Kong.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Oh, let's get one more question.
You may know there's some regulation. What is the strategy? Sure. Okay, so that's actually quite a key question. So we do have an individual who's ex-JP Morgan, Nasdaq and Swift, JP Ules, who's head of our compliance, KYC and AML. One of the things I would say is that what we've seen within the KYC AML region right now, all the advances are very heavily coming out of the blockchain and cryptocurrency world, especially given some of the challenges there. And what we've seen also is some of the banks and institutions look to adopt some of those kind of key projects that are now emerging. You know, if you can't sort of beat them, rather why not buy them? So I think that's a continuing trend. Now, with respect that there continues to be global regulatory arbitrage within the digital asset space. Not every country or regulator treats it in the same way. So that's where the lawyers are having a bit of a field day in terms of how they're making money on their advisory service. And with respect to the SFC specifically, is that we are actually focused on regulation quite clearly. We're also working with a regulated Type 9 partner on that front. The one thing I would say, as the SFC guidelines specifically call, if you deal only in virtual digital commodities or virtual assets, typically like Bitcoin and Ethereum, you do not need a license. As soon as you start to work into the, say, the STO space, you might have heard that terminology, then you need to actually get a license. We don't deal in the STO space right now. Our main concept is to really trade around volatility, trade around arbitrage, and actually exploit value for our clients in the Cayman Islands. And I'm happy to talk about that as a group. Ben's here talking about what we do in Hong Kong on a non-regulated basis in terms of the consultancies and the educational aspects. So one thing I would say there is if we also look to the gentleman's question, why are we here also talking to the venture capital group? One of the key aspects for getting investors for our Cayman Island Fund, it means also looking at our investors' backgrounds. Do they have experience in alternatives? Do they have experience in venture capital and such forth? Are they professional investors? And so that's also something that we continue to reach out into. It's really taking the focus of only focusing on professional investors. And so hence being compliant.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin and Ben.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening. Good luck for the students. Thank you, Marvin.